Good morning, everyone. Yeah, we're having another real foggy morning here this morning with all the rain that we've been getting. The crops are just growing beautifully. I'm so grateful. We had such a droughty spring and we had a very low precipitation this winter, so I'm really grateful. We've had about 3 inches of rain in, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 days. So it's been really nice to just soak in and get that ground moist again. So this morning I want to show you more about the bed preparation that I talked about in the last video. This is a bed that you're looking at here. If you take into consideration the melon section and the cucumbers that I showed you, that'll end up being about 120 foot long. And you can see that I took time to rake the mulch off, and I've got the mulch put in 2 separate piles here. And I'll actually bring my wheelbarrow and my pitchfork in and I'll move that mulch. And I mentioned in the last video how these beds were what I call in storage. And what I mean by that is I actually, if I'm not using a bed to grow crops and it's too droughty to have cover crops on because of all the watering I would have to do with it, then what I do is I bring a mulch in and I cover it with either a hay mulch or a wood chip mulch. And in this case I had hay on, and so I'll take this mulch now and I'll take it to other areas where I have beds that I want to put in storage, or ones that are in storage that have bare spots that are starting to show, and I'll just take it and cover in those bare spots. So that'll be one of the next things I'll do. But I wanted to show you my Ubar. That's what this is. Another name for this tool is a Broadfork. This tool was actually designed, I believe, originally in France. And the nice thing about this tool is these tines are 18 inches deep. This allows me to actually lift my soil. I penetrate the soil. See how easily that went in? I penetrate my soil about 18 inches. And then what I do is I actually pull back on it. Now watch the soil, if you can see it. See how it lifts? I drag it back about 6 inches or so. But what I want to show you is, look at the size of these big clumps that are remaining, okay? I'm not destroying my soil structure. With a rototill, if you bring a rototill in here, it's going to actually pulverize all the soil structure. Now, you're going to see in probably the next video where I'm showing the mineralization and what I do for spreading amendments, you're going to see a tool called a tilther. Now, a tilther is a really shallow, the teeth on it are about like this. It's a super shallow, it looks like a rototill. And what it's used for is to create a seed bed or to stir in minerals and compost real shallowly. So you're not digging down like a rototill will and just totally pulverizing the soil structure. You're just stirring the top. But the nice thing about this Ubar is these beds that you see here, this one that I'm working right here is some of our original soil. This is we've probably been working this for 15 or 16 years. And I just want to encourage those that are passionate about building soil and are new at it, just give it time. If you're diligent and faithful, you'll be amazed the pleasure that you'll have working in soil that you've stewarded for that long. And you see how nice and dark and rich, and then you see how healthy the crops are that you grow in it, and the lack of pests for the most part, and the lack of diseases. Stay with building soil. And another thing I want to point out about a Ubar is that if you saw that soil lift, I'm not stirring it. A lot of times what a rototill will also do is bring up a whole new bank of weed seeds. But with this, because I'm just lifting the soil, but I'm lifting it from 18 inches down. So now I have this much soil that is soft and loose. I'm not stirring it, so I'm not bringing up a new series of weed seeds. So one of the things that we've noticed is that over the years is that we've had fewer and fewer weeds all the time because we've exhausted the weed seed that's in that top surface of the soil. And occasionally weed seeds are going to blow in. They're going to come from other places. But overall, we've noticed less and less weed pressure all the time. As long as you don't allow them to grow to full size and to set seed again, you're not going to continue to have that problem. So I'm just going to do some U-barring here and I'll show you what this is like. If your soil hasn't been double dug and loosened down to 24 inches, there's no way that you would have this easy of a time U-barring. Now you see my pink string. I'm running that string to keep me on track, and the reason why is in the northern climate that we live in, we get frosts that sometimes come in untimely points. And I want to be able to bring hoops in here and cover this with floating row cover. There's going to be potatoes in here. These two other beds are going to be beets. If we got some really odd frost in July or August, which does happen, then I want to be able to cover it with floating row cover to protect the plants. So I'm making sure that I actually have a straight line, and what I'll do is I will U-bar next to this, and then after this row I'll just simply follow the edge of this. So the U-bar is 24 inches wide, so I have 6-foot beds, so I will U-bar 3 rows and that'll be a 6-foot bed. Now I do U-bar my paths, and the reason being is the roots of the plants are going to go into those paths, so I don't want to create a zone in my garden that's so compact, because we don't loosen it at all, that the roots have a hard time going into. So you'll actually see in the next video, I'll have this whole section U-barred, and then I will come in and I will run a string down this path over here, and I'll actually walk the string to set the path again, and then I'll spread my minerals. I'll till through the minerals in, and then I'm going to show you my rake that I use. I think you'll really be impressed with the rake that I use and how I utilize it. So I hope this was a blessing for you. If you've got any questions, any comments, please leave them below. And if you're finding this content helpful, please share this with other people. I just really appreciate that. God bless you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.